Hi everyone, today I'm doing a video on products that I would recommend for those of you who are going to prom or you are having a special events like a wedding, for example. Products that I've learned to trust over the past years and months. I have a lot of products in front of me, so let's get started so we can all get there in one video. Now, I would start with the first things you would also start off with on your face, which would be ideally moisturizer and primer. I will skip moisturizer because every one of you has a different skin type. I have two primers here to recommend you guys. One is from the drugstore, one is from more of a high-end brand. And the drugstore primer I want to recommend you guys is the Indefectible Primer by L'Oreal. Yeah. So this guy is a mattifying primer and I find it really helpful, and especially in summer, to only put this in my T-zone and wherever I get oily, because I naturally am more of the dry side. But if you have more of an oily T-zone or if you have oily skin in general, this one is pretty great. And then I have the Urban Decay Brightening and Tightening Complexion Primer. It has the standard kind of purple tube that all Urban Decay tube products have. This one is more of a hydrating, brightening primer. It doesn't really minimize your pores, but this one does. So those two in combination are the world to me, and I would use this combination when I had prom or something like this, because both of these really keep the makeup on long, and they make your skin feel very, very smooth and also make the makeup stick to the base, which is really important. Next off we have a foundation. There are a couple of foundations I want to recommend to you guys. Two of them are more on the drugstore price feel and two of them are more high-end again. The first drugstore foundation I would recommend you guys for a really good long-wearing foundation, but not being too tightening on your skin. For example, the L'Oreal Indefectible makeup is really much known for that problem, I guess. It's too matte. With this foundation I haven't had this problem before. It's the Max Factor Whipped Cream foundation. It sounds like it would be very, very moisturizing, but actually I think dry skin to very oily skin can both wear this foundation. It has a light to medium coverage, so it won't give you as much coverage as the other foundations I'm going to show you, but it is a very light wearing foundation and it also wears very long. It has a quite natural finish on the skin. I would say it's a velvet matte. The next drugstore, this isn't really drugstore because it's theatrical makeup, but you get the gist of it because it hasn't got any SPF and it has quite a good coverage and a natural finish to the skin again. These are the Kryolan TV Paint Sticks. I know many of you may think that they will look very, very cakey and heavy on the skin, but I'm wearing them today and I think it looks just as good as any other foundation that you might own. As long as you have a buffing brush to work those in, they are very long wearing, they are really natural looking on the skin, but they give you a ton of coverage. The only thing that I wouldn't recommend those for is if you have a lot of dry patches on your skin, then you probably wouldn't like those so much because they cling to those areas very easily. The next foundation is a little bit more on the expensive side and it's the MAC Face and Body. You probably know that I've talked about this foundation a lot because I use this almost every single day. It's very long wearing, it has a natural finish to the skin. That means it doesn't give you a ton of coverage straight away, but you can build it up quite a bit. So this is a very good foundation for those of you not having many blemishes or imperfections, but you want a very long wearing and natural finish to the skin. I had two brides in the last year and on both of them I used this foundation and they looked bomb. Another good thing about this is that this one hasn't got any SPF at all. So you will get zero flashback, which is always a nice thing to consider when choosing your foundation for a special event. The last foundation that I'm going to show you is the Pro Longwear foundation by MAC as well. This one has an SPF of 10, which means it's quite a low SPF, so you won't get as much flashback, which is always a nice thing. This one leaves your skin with a matte finish, so that's why I would recommend it to those of you who have more of a medium to oily skin. But other than that, it has a great coverage. It's still very buildable, and you definitely won't be disappointed if you try this. Next are concealers. Now I have two that I really trust for special events. And this is first of all the Pro Longwear Concealer by MAC as a high street option, and the second option is the Perfect Stay Concealer by Astor. Now both of these I would use for different kinds of purposes. So the Pro Longwear Concealer is a really densely covering concealer, which means it's perfect for blemishes or very strong hyperpigmentation or dark circles underneath the eyes even. So I would use this for everything. I really love this because it doesn't crease. It lasts a very long time too. So if you, for example, would use those two in combination, you would be set, ready to go. Now this concealer has a built-in primer. I don't really know if I would agree with that, but it is definitely very long wearing for a drugstore option. It is not as long wearing definitely as the Pro Longwear Concealer by MAC, but it is still a very nice concealer that is more on the hydrating side, which is why I would recommend it for underneath the eyes and not so much for blemishes. Next, for powder. Now the only powder that I've been using for years and years and never had a bad experience with, and that's why I'm sticking to it, because I feel like it makes my skin look very airbrushed and natural still, and this is the Soft Matte Loose Powder by Manhattan. It's very cheap as well. Just try it out, see for yourself. I wouldn't stick to a pressed powder because those tend to have more flashback than the loose powders. Now let's start with blush. With blush I'm always having a hard time because blush tends to be the first thing to fade on my makeup. What I noticed lasting really long on my skin is the cream blush. This particular one is by NYX, topped off with a powder blush. This could be anything you really like, but I would stick to this combination because more thinner layers tend to last longer than just one thick layer of blush. As a highlighter, I would really suggest you using something that fits to your skin type rather than looking so much on the staying power, because highlighter is a thing that you can always reapply very quickly. Two that I find to be very long lasting and looking good all the time is, first of all, the MAC Mineralized Skin Finish in Lightscapade. This is more of a silvery kind of shimmer. And the Balm's Merry Luminizer, which is more of a goldeny tone. To be honest, I think that the MAC one lasts a little bit longer on me, but again, that depends totally on your skin type and how oily you get during the day. Both of these photograph really well, reflect the light from the high points of your face just the way you want it to. I totally forgot brows. Now, it's pretty obvious what I'm going to say. I'm going to say Anastasia Dip Brow Pomade, definitely. There is nothing for me which is better than this stuff that I've tried. A little trick that I want to address in this video as well is I put an eyeshadow base under my dip brow on my brows, or more on the sparse areas, and this way the dip brow sticks to the base and lasts an extra bit longer. And also if you apply eyeshadow to your eyebrows, which is totally fine, if you have enough hairs this will last just perfectly fine. Also a little trick to ensure the staying power is put some eyeshadow base underneath, or what I've been doing for the longest time is I was using the Pro Longwear as a base under my eyebrows or under my eyebrow products and then applying everything on top. It lasted me during workouts, seriously, no bunching off, even with eyeshadow on the brows. When we were talking about eyeshadow bases, I can truly recommend the Soft Ochre Paint Pot, but only for those of you who do not suffer from too oily eyelids. If you are really needing some extra help, I would recommend you the Urban Decay Primer Potions. I've tried all of the ones in here and I am so impressed, and every time when I have a special event I would definitely consider those as a favorite of mine. I wanted to say something to lashes. My holy grail mascara is the Max Factor False Lash Effect in the waterproof variation. This stuff is so hard to get off and it will not go anywhere. If you are searching for a foundation, if you're searching for a mascara that will really stay on, I would recommend you go for the waterproof variation of the Max Factor false lash effect. For false lashes, I know lots of people want to have false lashes on special events, myself included, of course, but what I wouldn't do is put on strip lashes if I'm not completely sure that they will last, because more often than not I have the problem with false lashes sticking up on the inner corner or the outer corner, and it's just very hard to put them back on once you are at that event. So what I would definitely recommend you guys, which is also more customizable, is take individual lashes and customize them yourself. Those won't fall off during anything. If you have some shorts, some mediums, some longs maybe, you can easily do a very dramatic lash with just a little bit more effort, but it would definitely save your evening when you are not such a pro with applying strip lash. Now, I'm not such a fan of liquid lipsticks because I haven't found one that would last me the way I wanted it to, because most of the liquid lipsticks tend to wear off pretty crinkly on my lips and they are very drying and I just don't really like the feeling. But what I really started liking are the matte style lip lacquers by Astor. This is the color All About Style. This is just a very pretty color and they are very opaquely pigmented. I've just swatched through the other ones as well and I have to say that they seem to be all very even in pigmentation. So this is one layer. Now, they're not going to dry completely matte straight away. You would have to blot them, but that's completely okay because the way they wear off it's so settled that it isn't as crinkly and dry looking as with other liquid lipsticks. So I would rather have a formula like this lasting a few hours less and can be reapplied during the evening and not wearing off so strange than a liquid lipstick maybe lasting a longer time but looking very crappy at the end of the day. Of course, another favorite, MAC lipsticks. You can't go wrong with MAC lipsticks. The mattes as well as the satin ones or the satin and the lusters, they are all great and they are all really long lasting. Especially the lusters and the satins I find to be wearing really comfortably. Some of the mattes in my opinion are too matte. This for example is smoked purple. I think that this one is just a little bit too dry, but I guess no one of you would actually wear this color on a special event. I would though. Because this is very long lasting. But for example this luster Plumful, it's not as opaque in pigment as you can probably tell, but it's very shiny and glossy and it's just really comfortable on the lips and wearing off evenly and it's still looking nice. The last thing I want to show you for lips is another Astor product, and those are the lip stains, the chubby lip pencils, lipsticks. I don't know what they are called because the name is just rubbed off of all of them because I've had them for so long. Those I really like as a stain because they are very pigmented straight away, but if you blend them out, so this is a swatch of them blended out and not blended out. So you can wear those as a lipstick, as a glossy lipstick or as a stain. I actually really like them as a stain because they last really long and you don't have to worry about them wearing off again in this weird way. The last thing I want to address is setting sprays. Now I've only tried this one out by Urban Decay. This is the D-Slick makeup setting spray oil control. But I have to say I'm pretty impressed with it and the way it makes my makeup last. Now you would expect that an oil control setting spray doesn't really work because it's a spray, how it is supposed to control your oils. Now I have no idea how this works, but it does. It's just the right amount of mattifying effect on top of your makeup, but still getting rid of the powdery look that you maybe create with bake. And this really does make a difference. I hope this video was helpful for you guys. I know it was a ton of products, but I always find it very helpful to see what other people like for special events. Whatever you will do with this video, with these tips, I hope it was helpful for you guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!